It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Oh yeah, Free State Project, here we go. Don't tread on me, Porcupine. Keep sending me those t-shirts, I'll wear them. You know, today I just want to go over what we had happen over the weekend. And there's so much stuff on Freedom's Phoenix. It's hard to read everything. And we had, great guys like Jack Gregson. He's our economic columnist on Freedom's Phoenix. He's sitting in for the first hour here. We're going to talk about some stuff. Then at the top of the second hour, we'll have Scott Horton from antiwar.com radio that's going to come on and tell us, about WikiLeaks. Now tomorrow we'll have some people. There's, we got some contacts that previous guests we've had. They're experts on Iran and so on. I got some good guys, and we'll get, what does this really mean? And there are some revelations that, nothing that we really would surprise us, and certainly things that have been talked about in media overseas, but this is confirmation. And it's headlines all over the world. The top of the full front page, looky what the U.S. government be a-doing. And what are the ramifications of that? It's more than just, saber rattling and war games and all this kind of stuff. That's a distraction from what's really going on. Last week we had Russia and China abandon the dollar. This is huge. This is going to be, the beginning of the end of the dollar, and that has a lot of ramifications. What I decided this weekend is Friday for the Freedom Summit. We always have the pre-summit debate forum, whatever we wind up doing, because what happens is Friday we have a $20 thing. It costs me that much just per person to go in there because we have a hosted, as long as the margaritas last, it's all you can drink margaritas and some appetizers and so on. And then we have people checking in. The speakers are coming in. People are, coming in from out of town. They're getting their hotel room, and what are we going to do Friday night and, get our drunk on before we even start the summit. Well, what happened is it kind of evolved. What it was originally was Mark and I would take the opportunity to have the speakers come, and we went out to dinner. Well, then, it's a few of our friends that turned into their friends, wives, spouses, girlfriends, and friends, and it wound up being we take over an entire restaurant. It turned into 30, 50. By the third year, it's like, screw it, man. We just we need to set up and test all the sound equipment and everything anyway. So we'll do a pre-summit thing at the resort where we have the summit following morning on Saturday. So Friday evening, starts from 6:30 to 9:30. We have a show. Well, what's the show this time? So we're thinking, what could we do? I mean, the TSA's in the news. We could do that. We always wait until the last week because, man, the news be a-changing all the time. We're going to go to war with China, North and South Korea. They're going to reunify, or they're going to make the wall higher. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. We have, foreclosure gate. This is a big deal. We have, just so many things that are happening in the housing and real estate and the economics and QE 14 that's coming. They just keep doing this. So what do we discuss? Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, what we're going to do Friday, and it has something to do with the economy. But we'll talk about details of that. But all of the news just over the weekend from Thanksgiving to now is just overwhelming. Anybody that reads Freedom's Phoenix and goes on there, wow, is there any good news? Well, we do put a lot, especially on the weekend. We'll put a bunch of stuff up, on technology. Just the empowerment of the individual to be able to do what they can do to get off grid, to be able to communicate, to be able to be outside the system, to just survive. And I guess the bad guys know it too, because one of the things we're going to be talking about this week also is this prevention of you being able to grow tomatoes in your backyard, this S510 thing. I've been following this a little bit, and I'm like, does it really say this stuff? Does it really give them the control? Yeah. There's other things going on. The Department of Homeland Security shutting down dozens. There's over 75 sites that they're just shutting. No warrant, no jurisdiction, because their Department of Homeland Security stop us. This is Chinese stuff. This is Soviet. This is it's not a free country kind of thing. This is just because they can. All right. Are they going to be able to come in and you're not allowed to give your neighbor, your kids, your family access to your garden? Can you have access to your garden? What about seeds? I mean, this is getting bad. I mean, at what point do we go, all right, we know what's going on. All of us at Freedom's Phoenix, we did our bit, man. We're going to live on the Lone Prairie. It's been nice knowing y'all. We're going to Uruguay. We're going to Argentina. We're going to Austria. We're going to go somewhere else, out in the boonies and the mountains of Arizona, or Missouri, or Montana, Wyoming. What do we do? This is what we have come to. I mean, there's a lot of people, they go to New Hampshire. Yeah, they can do that. So as you look at this stuff, sometimes you just need a recharge. A lot of times we come across stories that are just really scary, and we'll be showing some of those today, and we'll go and look a little bit behind the scenes. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce you to Jack Gregson. Jack Gregson is our columnist at Freedom's Phoenix on economics and so on. And what's got you concerned here of late? What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ernie. I lived in Ahwatukee for about 9.5 years. That's a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. It's called the world's longest cul-de-sac for good reason. There's only really about 2 or 3 ways in, and to the west, there's no way out. And it was interesting. We went to the Festival of Lights. This is the 15th time that we've gone in the past 14 years. And it was really interesting. You could see this, upwardly mobile community, a lot of yuppies, a lot of really wealthy people, and things were worse than I had ever seen them. Now, we sold our house there in the spring of 2006 at the peak of the real estate market. And you could really tell just by how many food booths they had, how many carnival rides that they had at the Festival of Lights, how many people had Christmas lights up, really how many storefronts were empty. And it was a full-on depression.
That's one thing that I noticed just yesterday, Sunday. My family and I, kind of impressed my granddaughter. She's about a year and 4 months. And we're like, we're out in the front yard. We're watching them while, my son and daughter-in-law went shopping, did some stuff. And we have a baby. They were born on the same day. They have the same birthday, so he's like 4 months. And, we get to watch them. Yeah, and we bring over her mother, the grandmas and grandpas there were playing kids. So we're out putting Christmas lights on one of the ficus tree that we have in the front yard. And it's about 8 feet high or something. So we're just wrapping it in Christmas lights. Well, then, of course, when it starts to get dark and we take them out and we flip it on, woo! She this is her word for cool stuff. Wow. Wow. So wow's cool to her, So we're having fun with that. And the one thing that I noticed, by this time usually, around the Thanksgiving weekend, you're pretty much half your street's got something, some lights.
Right.
There was one other home on our entire street of probably 20, 25 homes that had any kind of lights, just a little bit around the entryway. And I'm going, this, and I started to see it last year too. You had fewer lights, fewer decorations, fewer involvement in the holidays. And I'm just going, this is that really a sign of something? I mean, is that what you're saying? I mean, what did you see? That's
what I saw. I mean, it was just dark. It was dark, and the businesses, there were so many businesses that have closed up. Okay, we've been going that area for decades, and it's really never looked like this. It looks like a depression.
When we come back, we're going to talk about why. Jack, puts up lots of goodies, and we'll go through some of the stuff here on Freedom's Phoenix of what's really happening, not just here in Arizona, but everywhere. But Arizona, we get a really big dose. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, Jack Gregson, just a little bit.